A nice applause for our judge's favorite from the Nightmare Show, Adam R. Thank you. This is the story of one of nature's bitterest, nastiest rivalries. Man versus Darkar's Toyota of Gaithersburg. It is an ordinary Thursday morning. I'm sitting in a small glass-enclosed office with a salesman named Lee, who tells me that my 30,000-mile Class B service is going to cost $232, and the morning goes to hell. Because when I called on the phone on Tuesday, the person I spoke to said it was going to be $135, so $97 less than he's saying now. And Lee responds with the words that I despise more than any words in commerce. No one should have told you that. I hate those words, don't you? It's like the words that any business can use to dodge any obligation that they might have. I feel like we grew up in a different era, didn't we? Don't you remember when false advertising was actually a thing? Right? And now I feel like it's become one of those modern civic urban legends like citizen's arrest. It just doesn't exist. I remember my 5th grade math teacher telling us that she once walked into a Taco Bell and they had a sign on the wall that said, tacos, 0.49 cents. So she slapped a penny on the counter and said, I'd like 2 tacos, keep the change. Nowadays, they just say, oh, the sign is wrong. And tacos are $9. And then what can you do? So Lee leaves and has his supervisor come in. Lee's supervisor sits down in the chair where Lee was. Now, Lee's supervisor is Dave. If I could tell you one detail about Dave to help you picture him in your minds, I would tell you that Dave doesn't need this. Dave has one of those centimeter-long beards that make you think that he just forgot to shave for a week and a half until you see that he did shave his neck, so he's probably just a douchebag. And he says, what seems to be the problem? Which is another business phrase, and they never say, what is the problem? Because that pre-acknowledges that there's a problem. They say, what seems to be the problem? What do you perceive in your little head as the problem? So I explained to him, well, I was 232 this morning, but when I called it was 135, and he asked another question I don't like. He says, do you remember who you spoke to? Yes, we became best friends. We're seeing a movie on Friday. No, I don't remember who I spoke. Do any of us remember who you speak to when you call to make an appointment to get your car looked at? And so I tell him, no, I'm sorry, I don't remember. But for some reason, this is very important to Dave. And he says, well, do you remember if it was a man or a woman? And now I realize that I don't remember, so I'm filled with liberal guilt. Because I had a conversation with a human being 2 days ago, but what kind of a horrible yuppie am I that I didn't even register the person's gender during the conversation? I just dismissed him or her in my mind as the Toyota peon and then went about my middle-class life? And now I'm really afraid that Dave is going to start bringing people in like a lineup, and he's going to have them stand at number 1. Could you read the line on the card, please? That will be $135. Is that him? I don't know. And then, for just a brief second, this little smile flickers across Dave's face. Like if I hadn't been looking right at him, I would have missed it. And Dave says, I'm wondering if you spoke to Kevin. Now, I say nothing at this point because I want Dave to keep going, in case he says something like, Kevin is a chimp we hired to say numbers at random. But then, he basically does. He says, and I quote, Kevin is a little off the wall. This seems like an inadvisable system, doesn't it? Customers call for a quote, and wacky old Kevin picks up the phone and says whatever number comes to mind. Oh, new transmission, 50 cents. Oh, okay, bye-bye, Kevin, go night-night. So, for a second, I think I've got my loophole. You know, maybe it was supposed to be 232, but someone let Kevin off his leash and he said 135. But instead, Dave says, well, maybe I could see about meeting you part way. Part way, between 135 and 232. Oh, what are we, haggling now? Are we in a spice hut in Marrakesh? I said, wait a minute. One of your employees promised me a certain price, but because he's off the wall, you don't have to honor that price? And now a new situation comes up. And it's the situation that some of you might have experienced if you have a friend who's always complaining about his girlfriend, and then the one time you say something bad about her, forget it. Well, for the purpose of this analogy, Kevin is Dave's girlfriend. Because as soon as I say off the wall, Dave gets furious. And he looks at me and he says, Kevin is new. Like I'm the one who introduced the term off the wall into the conversation. And then he's so angry, he stands up, he's just staring at the floor, and he says, you know what? Pay whatever you want. And he storms out. Are you 3? This is how I end arguments with my wife sometimes. We're both feeling crabby and someone says, you know what, just tell me what you want me to say and I'll say it. Well, for the purpose of that analogy, Dave is my wife. Don't tell Kevin. Lee, the original salesman, comes back into the room, sits down, says nothing. He goes, type. That'll be $135. At this point, I wonder several things. I wonder if I should tell him that I've been saying 135 as shorthand for 134.78. I wonder if I should say, Dave told me I could pay whatever I want, and then slap a penny on the counter and say, keep the change. I wonder what Dave said to Lee in the hallway, because I don't think he said, that intelligent consumer has bested me with logic. I actually wonder if Dave said something about me being Jewish. I'm always self-conscious about that whenever I argue about money. I wonder, how Jewish do I look today? How much chest hair is poking out of my shirt collar? I wonder if Kevin's going to get in trouble. I wonder if Dave is going to poop in my engine. But mostly, as I ride the Dark Cars Toyota of Gaithersburg courtesy shuttle to work, I wonder about all the little transactions that we make every day and all the little things that businesses do to take something more from you, and what we allow to happen and what we let go. Because what happened with Dave? Who told him that this is the right thing to do? Who told you to fuck with me on this Thursday, Dave? Because Dave, no one should have told you that. Thanks.